real debate about how sexy we would make it, you know? I remember we did different versions. It was like, first it was just kind of like a kiss that we both didn't really understand, and then it was sort of a different kiss, and then we went for it one time, and the executive producer, Jay, was just like, I can't show that.
But they wanted options, so it was interesting. So we had to we didn't know the tone of it, so we sort of had to guess and do a few different options, and then you guys, saw what they ended up choosing. But it was strange, and it was strange to play not remembering Bo, and it was strange that we were sort of going on the solving this mission together. It was like the whole thing just felt very.
It was very fun.
Different.
It was like a show within a show,
Yeah.
kind of like the body swapping episode where. I've heard this before. People seem to like that episode. But again, like a show within a show. Good cop, Kenzie cop. Yeah, that's her shirt right there. That was Dyson's line, or as Kenzie.
I think seeing you embody Kenzie was amazing.
I know, wasn't it like so much better than my Kenzie? I was like, stop it, you're stealing my thunder. Meanwhile, I was like, Kris, my back is really hurting playing you. Oh my God. I wish I could do it again though. There was one scene that I didn't get to film actually because the day was crazy and they had to cut a scene, and unfortunately they cut this one where Dyson and Kenzie's body goes to the Ash's lair, and there's like a cop there, and he has to seduce this cop as I was so excited to film this scene, and unfortunately we had to cut it, and to this day I was literally heartbroken. Like I don't remember who came into my trailer, but they were like, hi, we just have to tell you, like, we have to cut this scene. And literally I just got like tears in my eyes. I was like, this is the one thing I've been looking forward to. So, anyway, maybe in the movie.
How you done that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Why?
Man up. That's so wrong in so many different ways. Yeah, so what were we talking about?
Anyway, next question. Right there.
What was the difference between going from tutors, where we know how that went, and then going into law school?
Oh God, how do I describe this? Okay, I'll give you the straight answer because I don't want to get in trouble. The tutors was a really unique and amazing experience because we had one writer, Michael Hurst, and whenever you're on a show that has a singular sort of vision like that, it's a gift. Because you have one person to go to. There's not a committee. He is the authority, and I'm not going to try to. Well, I don't know if William Compton would say this right now. He did. It's right there. Oh, okay, yeah. Right. So it's like, you really respect the script, and on Law School, it's more of a collaborative effort. So we have rotating writers coming in, and oftentimes very new ones, and maybe they don't know the voice of the character, or like by the end we'd been doing this show for 5.5 years, and it was like, we know what the heck's going on, and so it was much more, I could talk to them, and which in a way is great. So both have their benefits. In one way, you're more serving someone else's vision, and in the other way, you're more of a collaborative part of it, which is enjoyable until they start saying, no. And then you're like, oh God, I have to fight you now. This isn't going to be fun. So, yeah.
When y'all filmed Hale's death and Kenzie's death, was that hard? Or like those, I don't know, I slept a lot.
Well, I wasn't there for Hale's death, but talk on that.
Oh. It was really rough. I think I mentally prepared for 2 weeks to film that scene, because we spent probably 16 hours just filming the part where Massimo comes in and beats me, and then Hale comes in and they fight, and then the death, and then, at our final hour, we at the end of the day was the scene where Anna Bo comes in and I'm at my most, you know, at the peak of sort of insanity and grief. And it was really hard. These characters mean so much to us. At this point, they're so ingrained in our souls that when you film scenes like that, there's just a lot, obviously there's a lot of emotion that you have to portray, but in terms of like me as Ksenia, it was incredibly emotional. I didn't want, you know, Casey to go, but at the same time it was you know, a beautiful moment, you know, where he says, "I love you, Kenzie," and just like it was wild and exhausting and you know, but it had to be done. And we were very focused, and you have to be, like, you just have to be on it every single second, but physically, emotionally very draining. And then when I stepped into the portal,
I was just remembering that alternate version that you and I did, where it was like, "What is that? Your contract?"
Inside joke.
Ksenia's got this. Her character, she pulls out this thing that's like, "No, look, I'm the heart." And it's like the Valkyrie tax that she's pulling out, and there was a whole thing about Ksenia. We weren't sure what was going on with the show at that point, and we were making a joke that we didn't know if we were coming back. So she's holding this thing up like, "No, don't go, Ksenia. We can't make this show without you." She pulls this thing out. She goes, "No, look." And I'm like, "What is that? Your contract?" And
this was after like 6 hours of a shooting, me walking and us
in
going
slow
like
motion, with tons of these all around her, and he going like this all the time. So yeah, we just went a little.
that was emotional too, yeah.
Oh my God! Well, talking about the emotional, just at that point, I mean, we're 4 years invested in real relationships as well, and you know, it actually makes made my job easier, because just you're so invested in the people you're working with at that point. Luckily, we're on our show anyway, where we're actually blessed with having great relationships. Like, we actually all really care about each other. Some of the shows, it's apparently not like that. I don't know. We have a tabloid and the actors being egomaniacal. I don't know what they're talking about. But not a Lost Girl. We're all down-to-earth Canadians. People who apologize all the time. So sorry.
I'm just helping draw attention to her.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so sorry. We've been neglecting this part of the room.
I am a huge fan, but I have to know, is your tattoo real?
Yes, it is. Well, that one is. The
I
one
don't
on
know
my
if
arm
you did it for the
isn't.
show or not, but I love the tattoo, and I just.
Thank you very much. Funny story about that. I actually went to a con last year in, I think it was Houston or something like that. And a fellow walks up to me and goes, "I have to thank you. I'm a dermatologist, or I'm a laser tattoo removal doctor. Some gentleman got your tattoo put on his back for $200, and now he's paying me $10,000 to have it removed." Thank you very much. And I was like, "Oh, wow, welcome. I'm so sorry." But yeah, that's my real tattoo, which I got when I was in my early 20s. The one on my arm, though, is a character tattoo, which was created by our original production designer, and it's really quite cool in its story, is that it's hobo symbology. So back when the hobos were walking around, they would scratch symbols in towns, like you can get a free meal here, you can get here's a place where you can sleep, and this was the sign where they would scratch if it was like basically vicious dog, beware, there's a vicious dog here. So yeah, it's kind of like, which I think someone's even selling them here. Okay, we'll go left or my right. Captain Sparrow. No, or
If you were in Harry Potter, what house would you be in?
Harry Potter is this like really successful show.
Thanks. don't you answer first?
Gryffindor. Maybe a little Hufflepuff, depends on if I want a Hufflepuff, I don't know. Which is a little bit of both.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll be roommates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gryffindor. Cool.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, there you go. Alex.
Was there anything in the show that you either just loved, like a part or an episode, or that you just abhorred, like filming, like either or, that just stood out?
Quite a bit of both.
I mean, pick one and be like,
Who do we throw under the bus? There was a lot of great moments. Mostly, I mean, like from the tango to a lot of, so many good ones. But I mean, sometimes the thing about Law School that drove us, or drove me personally crazy, is that when we got involved with the show in the beginning, with the pilot, it had a much more serial, sort of like a multi-episodic arcing kind of feel, and it kind of felt a little bit more, it was a bit more mature in what we wanted. And through the years, it kind of got pushed in different directions, and then whether it was network or EP, they wanted to compartmentalize a little bit more for sales purposes to a bit more episodic. And for me, the part that I disliked the most was when we would do like our Scooby-Doo kind of episodes, when it was like, who's the fan of the week? Oh, it's the school teacher, that's the swamp thing. Ha-ha! It's you, Mrs. Henderson. Cut to the last scene, where we all sum it up in 5 minutes and live happily ever after. But let's cut in between with some making out and some quick character development. Alright, see you next week on Oscar. You know, it's like, I kind of like a bit more of a mature show where it's like more about the season arc, about what these characters are going through, as opposed to just like solving. Although that appeals to a lot of people too, and it's a good way to package and sell a show. That it's like, you know, you can tune in for 1 week, or you can watch the whole season. And that's why a lot of shows function like that. And I'll never work again. All the network execs right now, like, he's an asshole.
When we get the gentleman in the green, he's been waiting for a while. We forgive you.
What I've always wanted to ask you is that your real hair, like blonde? Are you really blonde? Because I'm watching
I mean,
Kenzie.
Oh my God, who's Henderson?
thank you.
I'm kind of goth myself. I'm not sure. Is she really goth or kind of dark, or what's the style kind of reflect on the show as far as dressing?
She's she's edgy and
She's Kenzie.
she's Kenzie with gothic elements.
Just like you wear that type of, what's it called, a vest, like in the first 2 seasons?
I think it's called the best.
Like or something. I mean, I'm not from Canada, so I don't know how.
That's all we wear in Canada. My dog sledding team, my igloo, and my vest.
You're from Ukraine, right?
No, I'm
I mean,
from.
Russia.
No, I'm not from Latvia.
Yeah.
We're actually
We're
both Latvian.
both
Did you guys know that? Oh, you did? Okay.
Susie knows everything.
Well, that I know, but.
She knows more about me than I know. Pretty sure. Tina, you had a question.
Yes, how was the last day of filming for you?
That's a trick question. I can't answer.
That's right. Who knows if Ksenia Solo was even there? Come on, what are you talking about?
Were you all together?
Listen, you. Don't make me come over there. You're putting me in a very difficult position here.
Thank God someone's on the ball here.
I know you were. I saw it.
That's your question.
What's that?
You film out of sequence.
Yeah, nothing's ever in order.
That's right.
Kris, why don't you tell everybody how your personal experience
I
was
don't even
on the
know if
last?
I was there. I was the wolfskin rug that Lauren and Bo warmed their feet on.
You finally wolfed down and kept somebody warm. Thank you. I've been asking you since the iPod days.
It's expensive to wolf out. Production doesn't want to do it. You gotta get the dog in, the dog doesn't listen. You gotta tranquilize the dog, and the dog comes in, and like, what are you doing? Yeah, Tina, you sneaky you.
Sneaky.
No, I'm sure I'm just sad for you.
No, I mean, whenever my last day was, it was emotional.
Yes, I second that
yes.
motion.
Yeah, and God, I don't know. No, ask us next year. Well, we have finished filming season 5. You can put your arm down. I got you. You're good.
Do you mean like coming back here?
Here? Oh, here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Talk to George. George is the
Talk to George.
But I'd love to. This is a great con. It's like small, it's intimate. We get to like actually meet and talk with you guys. It's great. So yeah, I'd love to. Plus, the climate here is really nice considering in Toronto right now it's about 45 degrees Fahrenheit.
I just have a question, but I want to thank you both for all your hard work on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. No, we're not wrapping up. We're sitting here for the rest of the afternoon. Can you bring in a keg?
You'll have to drag us off of this stage.
Just throw Holden Baker up there with you. Can you tell us anything about the next season?
There is one. There's Bo. She plays the succubus.
And
really
it's a
cool
really
show.
cool show. And
then they go,
and then this thing comes out of nowhere. And then Dyson walks out and he eats somebody. And then there's sex.
And then,
And then there's this stuff.
there may or may not be a group cheese suck.
Yeah, it's a very.
And then we kind of wake up.
Oh my god! All the dreams.
Just like that. Lita.
How did you all find out that you were canceled?
What?
How did
What?
you find
Oh.
out that you were canceled? Did they email you? Did they call you into a meeting? Did they?
Not. We wouldn't say canceled. We would say the show, felt that it came to an end and
Yeah.
wanted to end on a high note instead of,
It was actually a real blessing because a lot of times shows don't know that they're going to end. And so, you're left with this kind of quasi wrap up, right? So we knew, so we were able to fashion a season that hopefully answers a lot of the questions that had been asked, closes a lot of the stories. Yeah, I think it does a fair job. When I read the final script, I was pleased.
I was wondering, what was it like playing 2 different werewolves? Because you were also an Underworld Awakening.
Yeah. It was interesting. That was just before season 2. So I'd done 1 season of Lost Girl, and I've always loved the Underworld franchise. Number 3, but the first 2 were great, despite Scott's being and so yeah, I was like happy to jump at the opportunity to do it, and they were casting out in Vancouver, and they just said, "Hey, what about Kris?" And so I just put myself on tape for it, which is when you just basically talk to camera and go, "Hi, I'm Kris Holden-Ried, and I want to be your werewolf." And so I've had a little experience, obviously, with werewolfing, and they didn't know this. This is the interesting thing. The 2 directors, it was a twin directing team from Sweden, and I did my wolfing out, and I kind of just let them. I'm like, "Look, I'm going to show you what I do for a wolf." I took my shirt off. I'm like, "You want to see me half naked? This is what I look like." I laid it all out. And then when I showed up on set, they're like, "You're really good at this, man. Like, what did you do? How did you practice this?" And I all of a sudden was like, "Shit. I probably shouldn't tell them that I play a werewolf on a TV show." like, oh, you know, it's a lot of intense animal work. I went to the zoo. I hung out with the bulls. But I just bullshitted, right? And then finally they figured out, oh, you've done this before. But it was really great. I mean, it was fun. I loved doing an accent. You know, it was nice to work with Kate and work and take a werewolf sort of into a bigger budget sort of thing. Whereas, you know, in law school, oftentimes we're so rushed. But yeah, back to your question, and I think he's gonna tackle me.
If you had a bumper sticker on your car, this is for both of you. It says, "I'd rather be," fill in the blank.
I'd rather be. What would you rather be? What did you? Is it doing or being?
Doing, surfing,
Oh, that's a good one.
water skiing, wood chopping, whatever. Saving the snails.
I don't know, I'm pretty content right this moment being here, so.
I'd rather be a billionaire. So I could do whatever the fuck I wanted, and I lived it as long as I wanted it to be. I'd rather be doing everything possible.
That's more like a rap.
You could rap on a bumper sticker, just be really long ones. I'd rather be a billionaire so I could do everything. See that car? Yeah, I want one of those.
Thank you guys so much.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And
We'll be here all week.
we're out. Peace. I'm taking this battery because I'm lifting.